Welcome back to Winning the Game of Life. I'm your host Sudershan Chhabra. Today I'm featuring a very special guest. His name is Ryan Foland. He's a communication strategist. I have seen him all over the place, Tedx and so many other places. And I have seen his story featured in all over the top media sites, Entrepreneur, maybe even Time Magazine soon, you know. So let us see what is Ryan about. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Well, thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here.
Very good, good. So first of all, thank you for waking up so early for me this morning, you know.
Yeah, well, I'm a big believer in, the early bird gets the worm. And normally on Thursdays, I'm up at my Toastmaster. So I'm usually up, but today I'm trading in a Toastmasters meeting for talking with you.
So why don't you first tell us a little more about you and your background and what you do these days to my listeners and viewers?
Sure. So my entrepreneurial path started a long time ago when I was in 6th grade, and I'll never forget it. I was on top of a ladder, about 2-story ladder, and I was hanging Christmas lights. And a little old lady next door, who was Mrs. Kawagachi, she was my neighbor, she said, "Ryan, can you help me with my lights?" And I all of a sudden went, "Well, yeah, but it's going to cost you." And she said, "That's fine." So I literally, at that moment in my life, just went, wait a minute, people are going to be paying me for doing things to help them out. And it just clicked. So I actually started a Christmas light company when I was in 6th grade, and I did that all through middle school, all through high school, and was able to make more money during the 3 or 4 weeks around Thanksgiving break than all my buddies did who were working at part-time jobs and whatnot. So it got me thinking differently. And I've always been fiddler with things and taking things apart and just kind of being a crafty person like that. And it's just led to an exciting array of businesses that I've started and failed and made mistakes and learned a lot and cut my teeth. Everything from finance to retail to smartphone apps. And in the last 2 years, I was actually brought on to start a really cool program at UC Irvine called the Blackstone Launchpad. And it's just been phenomenal. I was brought on to launch the program, and it's an effort to spark entrepreneurship at an early age on college campuses. And the core differentiation is that we don't focus as much on the idea as we did the entrepreneur. So I've had a chance to just work with hundreds of bright-eyed, bushy-tailed entrepreneurs. I do a lot of work up in Silicon Beach with a lot of the startups that are going on up there. And it's been fun to see some of the common problems that they all have, from well-off to very much a startup. And so being a natural problem solver, I come up with these theories and ways to try to break down, from a communication standpoint, how to solve some of those real problems that I see with entrepreneurs or people that are aspiring to gain more credibility online and just get their message and expertise out in the world.
So do you also teach and help and coach people outside the university?
Yes, absolutely. And I was actually recently promoted from within the university. They liked so much the attention we were getting for the Blackstone Launchpad program. They just started a brand new communications department under the Office of the Vice Provost of Teaching and Learning, big name, and essentially I'm going to be working with about 25 different units on campus that all cater towards the undergrads in helping them to get more exposure and branding and whatnot. And so that's my 9 to 5, but I'm a big believer in having a 5 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock in the morning, and then a 5 o'clock p.m. to as late as you can stay up to get up in the morning. So yeah, I do a lot of work up in Santa Monica with Expert Dojo. I travel around and do a lot of speaking. I speak at all the green festivals. I have this unique formula called the 313, which I think we'll talk about today. And that's something I do some private coaching with, a lot of pitch coaching, things like that. So
is
my days are full.
Is it possible to demonstrate like that 313 we were talking before we started the interview? Like how about let us start with like one of my coaching business I help people teach. Like I teach people through this book.
Yeah,
it's like get published, get noticed.
That's a great title, and I think everybody should be out there and get published. It's great. Absolutely, that sounds like fun. So the 313 is a process in structure and elimination, because I find that sometimes when you ask someone what they do for the first time, they pretty much open a fire hose in your face and they just ramble on, and it's really hard to follow, and they kind of use all the time they can in that classic elevator pitch to just throw up on someone. So my goal in life is to eliminate the elevator pitch. because I really believe it's more of a conversation that needs to be had. So the 313 is going to help you to say more with less. And let's jump right into it. It's based on the principle that there are 3 fundamental factors in order to communicate your idea. Now, this is not revolutionary information because most every business guru and every business book talks about it. But what's unique here is the limitations we're going to put on it. So the 3 most important factors are the problem you're solving, your solution, and your market. Right? I can hear the church bells going off because everybody's going, oh, that's so miraculous. No, it really is though. So the first question is, can you describe the problem that you're solving in 1 sentence? And before you do, a couple hints. Only make it one problem and make it very painful, because people operate out of either pain, avoiding pain, or pleasure. And it's really hard to build a business off of pleasure because people part money with their dollars to solve their problems. So Shawn, what is the problem you're solving in 1 sentence?
I help business coaches get paid more.
Wait a minute. See, what you just did is what a lot of people do is when I ask what is the problem you're solving, you jump right into what you do. You say, I help people do whatever. So I like to say, and don't take this personally, Shawn, I don't care what you do. I only care about the problem you solve, and I only care about that problem if it's a problem that I have. So you want to play to that sensibility because most people are very selfish. They only care about... And I'm a big believer in a pay-it-forward mentality. I'm not saying everybody's evil, but we all have selfish interests. So if you start to tell me how you're going to help me without letting me realize I have a problem, then I'm not going to be listening. So what problem do you solve in 1 sentence? Not what you do. What problem do you solve?
I help
so not what you do. Not what you do, right? Not what you help. But think of it like this. The problem I solve is blank, or the biggest problem that entrepreneurs have is blank, or what really irritates me in the world is this huge problem, which is blank.
I solve the problem of not getting paid enough.
There you go, right? So if you were to ask 9 out of 10 people, I solve a problem and I think you might have it. And they're going to go, well, what do you mean? What, you know? And you say, well, I solve the problem that you have, and I bet you your problem is you don't make enough money. Do you think most of those people are going to agree with you?
Yes, they will ask more questions.
Yeah, and they're going to say, well, how do you solve that problem? So again, here's where it sparks that conversation. So the second question is, what is your solution in 1 sentence? And the hint here, don't tell me how you do what you do. Just tell me what you do and do it in 1 sentence.
I make them more credible.
Okay, but that's still a little bit general. I mean, is this a book? Is this coaching? What is it?
I help them get seen as industry expert by getting published.
Okay, so is this a book that you're using, or is it a coaching service? What particular, like, what is it?
I will help them get published in their industry.
I know, but what is the tool? Like, what are they using? Are they reading your book? Are they listening to your podcast? Are they?
No, I'll be coaching them.
Okay, so you are a coach who helps them to become more credible online by being published.
Yes.
Okay, so these are key things. Now, my question is, does that solution solve the problem?
Yes.
So if you help people publish online and become more credible, does it help them make more money?
Yes, because of their more credibility, they get paid more.
Okay, so again, it's a real clear distinction, right? So now you're up to 2 sentences and you're on the way to almost describing everything. But what's really important is the third part, which is the market. So who is your market, and can you explain it in 1 sentence?
Business coaches.
All right, in Africa, in China, in
America.
In America, okay. So a lot of times when we talk about the market, we tend to use 2 very dirty words, the A word and the E word. That's everyone and anyone, okay? Especially when you're starting off, it's so important to know who your target market is, because you need to get the first customer, and then the second, and the third, and the fourth. Now, where do you live? Where do you live?
St. Louis, Missouri, Midwest.
Okay, how many people are in your local town or your area?
Like 1 million.
Okay, how many of those people do you think are people that would want to make more money?
Like in my industry, maybe like 1,000,
Okay, now how many people can you physically handle as a client?
100.
Okay, so check this out. Instead of saying people all over the world, you could literally say people who want to make more money in my hometown, right? Because now it's a lot easier for you to go put flyers on the doors of the 1,000 houses around you than it is to really go somewhere else or to market to North Korea or to come out to California. So again, investors and people who are really keen on business, the bigger you say your market is, the chances are they're going to realize that you're further away from actually, being successful. Now, eventually, once you become this rock star and this movie star, you can end up expanding. So I would challenge you to say your market in one sentence, more along the lines of demographically close, specific industry close, like as narrow as you can. So try it again. Who's your market in one sentence?
Like a local business coaches in St. Louis area.
Okay, and do those business coaches, or do those people, is there a type of industry that they might be more particular in? Are you looking for engineers? Are you looking for real estate agents? Are you looking for, who would most benefit from trying to make more money?
We can help like real estate agents.
Okay, so you can say people in my local area who are either insurance agents, real estate agents that are trying to make more money. Are they families? Do they have children?
Yes.
All right. So the more filters that you can put on, the more you identify who that person is. And here's where that's important. If you tell me, hey, I'm looking for anybody who wants to make more money, I really don't know who to introduce you to because that's everybody that I know. But if you say, hey, Ryan, I've got this, I'm specifically looking for people that are in the real estate industry, the insurance industry, who are looking to make more money, that have a family, that live in the East Coast. I then realize, well, that's not me, but I could probably introduce you to somebody that I know. So a lot of times we leave leads on the table when we're too general in our market. Okay, so let's back up now. You can now state your business in 3 sentences. It's very powerful. So here's our conversation. I say, hey, Shawn, how's it going? What do you do? And you say, well, it's not really what I do. It's the problem that I solve. And I'm going to go, wait a minute. What problem do you solve? I solve the problem that you're probably not making enough money. Now you've got my interest. Okay. So what is it that you do? Well, I have a specific coaching program that helps people gain more credibility online so they can get published to make more money. Now I'm interested. And you say, whoa, it's not for everyone, because remember, I'm just one guy, right? And I'm specifically looking for people who are in the insurance or real estate industry. Hopefully they have a family and they're trying to make some more money and, they're established, but they're not where they want to be in their career. Now, I know maybe that's not for me, but I could help refer you to a client. I know in 3 sentences what it is that you do, and that's very powerful because now the rest of our conversation is going to be digging into the details. So that's how to say your business in 3 sentences. And it's called a 3-1-3 because once you do that foundation, we can get 3 sentences down to 1 sentence and 1 sentence down to 3 words. So you want to try for the 1 sentence?
I help insurance agents and small coaches in St. Louis area to get them more credible and make more money.
There you go, right? Amazing. I got a little golf clap here.
Thank you.
Now think about that. If the next time you meet somebody, if they ask you what you do and you literally say that in 1 sentence, they're going to start to ask questions. And they're going to go, well, what kind of coaching is this? Or how does this work? Or how much does it cost? And I always like to say this, nobody wants to be told anything because we have all had parents, right? Whenever you tell your idea to someone, it's kind of aggressive. You're like, I'm telling you what this is. This is so cool because of this. But if you just sort of lay it out there and you say, well, this is what I'm doing because I'm solving this huge problem, you bring them into your world and they start wanting to talk to you. All right, so now are you ready to take that 1 sentence and make it into 3 words?
With your help.
Okay, so a lot of times there's this talk of a tagline, right? This is not a tagline. This is using relational words. So when I say 3 words, it's really something connected with something, and it doesn't have to do with anything that you're doing. If I were to say golden arches, what do you think of? McDonald's?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how many McDonald's you have out here, but out here they're all over the place. So if I say swoosh, you might think Nike, and when you hear Nike, you think of athletics. If I say cell phone, you know what that is. All of us have ingrained in us the definitions, deep definitions of words and things that are out there. So the key for you is to combine those things in a way that starts a foundation of what you do. So when I hear what you're talking about, you're helping people, you're kind of giving them this credibility. It allows them to do more. It allows them to make more money. So in my mind, it makes me think of like a driving instructor, or maybe a fitness coach, like a personal trainer, right? If I were to ask anybody off the street, do you know what a personal trainer is? Can you describe that to me? They're going to say, well, yeah, it's somebody who is a professional. They're fit, they know what they're doing, they practice what they preach, they help you get to a better spot, like all of those things that are associated with a personal trainer. Then let's think of, you're talking about credibility. So ideally we want to get it down to 3 words, but again, the concept is taking 2 things, comparing to some. So maybe you're like a personal trainer for getting published, or a personal trainer for credibility. Maybe a driving instructor of publications. And even though it doesn't make sense at first, it sets this foundation and it puts the building blocks into somebody's head. Maybe you're the blacksmith of writing, or the blacksmith of publications. And I can see in your mind all these connections. So we want to find maybe 1 or 2 that work and connect together. Any of those resonate with you?
Like I'm a book coach for like a credibility and profits.
Okay, so how do we bring that down to comparing on 2 things? So you're a book coach, right? We could say you're a football coach. Okay, so think of what I do. Actually take off the football. What I am, think of me as like a coach of greatness. or a coach of, let's see, like a writing coach. But again, it's not a tagline, right? It's more of a comparison.
Profit coach for insurance agents?
Profit coach for insurance agents, that could work, right? You could also be like a dugout coach for professional sales. You see, you have all these different combinations. Now again, our examples here are more than 3 words, but the concept is the same. So imagine you've met me again for the first time. And now I say, Shawn, what is it you do? You pause, you kind of pretend to come up with it, and you go, think of what I do as I'm a coach for profitability. And I'm going to go, huh? But in my head, I'm thinking everything that I know associated with coach and everything associated with profitability. And then the next question is like, well, what does that mean? Now you say, well, it's really about the problem that I'm solving. What's that problem? The problem is that people don't make enough money. They're not profitable. And they don't know how to get there. So how do you do that? What do you do? I am a coach that helps people like real estate agents and insurance agents make more money by being credible online. And you're building off of this foundation, and you'll see it in their eyes, and they'll literally stop and go, oh, I get it. And as soon as they get it, that's when you shut up and you just listen and you go, hey, is this a problem that you have? Are you curious about solving it? Do you know anybody that has that problem? And now it's a very organic way to find out if they're your client. It wastes less of your time, wastes less of their time, and it's in essence eliminating the elevator pitch. Now, the concept of an elevator pitch, in that you want to say something in a short amount of time, I'm down with that. But too often people get stuck with this elevator pitch concept and they literally memorize their thing. And so whenever they get a chance, they take a deep breath And then when somebody asks a question, then they're like stumped. And so it's not about having something memorized. It's about understanding the problem you're solving. It's about understanding what you do to solve it. It's about understanding a very, very, very tight market. And those are the three components. So it's such a fun exercise because it really, I think I see these entrepreneurs go from being intimidated about sharing their idea to getting excited about sharing the minimal information to learn from clients what they think about it.
It brings a lot of clarity.
Yes. I like to, my three words, I've played around with a bunch and I always keep making more up, but instant pudding of pitching. Right? It's like, who's comparing instant pudding with pitching, right? Maybe that's not a good example for some people, but for, it's just about starting that foundation. So instant coffee of pitching. What do? You take the water and the coffee and you stir it together, and in your mind you're thinking about it. So it's a fun, organic process that's always changing. So whenever you have an idea, you can run the 313 on it. And can you state the problem? Can you state the solution? Can you state the market? And it really helps you to define those singular points of what's going to make your business so special.
Thank you for bringing clarity in my pitch.
And again, it's all about feedback. So if people don't understand you, then that's no good.
Can you move a little down or back, because I don't see above that? Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, perfect.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so my friend, that was
I feel like we just had a little therapy session. It was good.
I know, because I was lost. Like, my mind is not ready to think anything because I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here.
And I would challenge you to do the same through and through process for your podcast, right?
Yeah.
What is the problem your podcast is solving? Mm-hmm. And it's going to be easier to get people to listen to your podcast. If you say, hey, I have this really cool podcast, you should listen to it. Nah. But if you say, hey, I've got this podcast and it solves one of the biggest problems that are out there in the world, they're going to be like, what is that? And you get them to come close and you say, the problem is people aren't making enough money and I found the solution. And they're going to be like, when is it on? Where do I sign up? I'd like to listen. Again, it's playing to those problems.
Okay, very good. So my friend, that 313 was a very good exercise, and my mind got some clarity, but at the same time I got tired. So I will give you a little more opportunity to. I think I was reading one of your articles that was about some iceberg theory or something. I don't remember the exact wording, but I think it's some related to something like that.
The Iceberg Theory. Now this goes to somewhat of helping people, again, understand how to say more with less. And I keep going back to that. And some of you may be thinking, well, this guy is talking about not saying much and he's just rambling on, but that's okay. Sometimes it takes a little bit to explain, but the core of what I'm trying to do, the foundation, is to give you tools in order to help you say less. Sometimes I've got to explain it a little bit long-winded. The concept of an iceberg. Have you ever seen one, or you know what it is, right? So in your mind, there's a little bit that's on top and usually a lot that's underwater that you don't see. So I use this in a comparison to when you're communicating about what you do versus how you do it. And this kind of goes back to what we talked about. If you go to a trade show and you walk up to a booth and you say, what do? They're going to take a deep breath and they're going to explain to you how they do what they do. We have a smartphone application that does this, and through integration and smart learning and here, and then we use IoT, and here it comes in and goes right to your phone, and you're just like, whoa. I didn't want to jump in the water, freezing cold water, and get dragged underneath in order to see what is your iceberg. The concept is simple. Just tell people what is on the very tip of your iceberg. And that is the what. So if somebody asks you what you do, by all means, answer them what you do. Because secretly, they want to know some real specific things. If I say, hey, what do you do? I'm curious about what's going to help me out. So if you just ramble on about how you do what you do and how, you're missing the opportunity to find out what I'm interested in. So when someone asks you a what question, keep it at the surface level. And then you answer, and it's so funny, it happens every time. What is it that you do? Oh, what I do is coaching to help people become more profitable online through publishing, which gets them credible. If that's all you say, the next question out of their mouth is going to be, how does that work? And they're basically saying, okay, I'm ready to jump in the water with you and see what's going on down below. So when you think about communication, this iceberg theory at the simplest form is, imagine the people that you're talking to on one of those tour boats in Alaska, and they're all bundled up, they've got their beanie on and their gloves and their fur and all this, they're into themselves, keeping themselves warm, and like, oh look, an iceberg. Just deliver the tip of the iceberg. Don't go grab them by the throat and drag them into the cold water underneath, because they're going to suffocate and they're going to be upset and you're going to miss your opportunity to communicate. So again, it's a fun concept to visualize. The concept of an iceberg is something everybody knows. The concept of how to communicate in a more concise way is a little complex. So if you're a startup out there and you're at a booth, literally just deliver the tip of the iceberg, because if people don't want to jump in the water with you, move on to the next booth. I'm involved with a really cool organization called Tech Day, and they have really cool events. So they have one coming up in April, April 21st. If you're in New York, you should check it out, and it's Tech Day New York. There are literally 500 startups that are boothing all in one room, and talk about ambient noise. It's just a chaos clatter of everybody talking. And these people who are there visiting, they have over 30,000 visitors. People that come through, they only want to stay on that ship. They want to keep their gloves on. They want to keep the beanies on, because not all 500 of those startups are something that they want to jump in the water with. So if you respect that as somebody who's at the booth, man, the people that you talk to, the value is going to be so much more, because some people will stay at your booth, some people will just walk by, some people are going to grab the free pens and the candy and just run. But as a boother or startup, think about the iceberg theory. Get them excited about the tip of the iceberg, and then, if and only if they want to know more, jump in the water with them. So that's the iceberg theory.
Very inspiring. I'm lost. You know, I'm mesmerized. You know, I'm not.
Hopefully you're not lost.
No,
go
lost.
to the iceberg.
Lost in the sense I'm just trying to see how should I be communicating in future.
Yeah, and just think, just point out the tip of the iceberg, and then when somebody says, "Oh, that's interesting," or "How does that work?" or "Tell me more," then grab your scuba gear and jump in the water with them.
We have about 5 more minutes. Unfortunately, we will be very close to the end. So is there any last minute advice, anything different than this communication?
Yeah, so there's so much great information out there. One thing I'm excited about doing is sharing that with the world. And I've recently got involved with a startup called Influence Tree. And I've got some great partners that have some great brands out there, personal brands. And the belief is that it doesn't matter what business you start, it's not going to be as good unless people know who you are. A lot of times what happens is people invest in their business brand. I'm starting this new startup, I'm going to start a Facebook page, a Twitter, a LinkedIn, everything's going to be revolved around this business. And we know that 98% of businesses fail, but we get blinded in that early light. So, so many people invest in their business brand, and then when that company fails, they don't have a Twitter following themselves to back up on, they don't have the content that they've created, or they don't have the articles about them that have been published. So Influence Tree, and we're creating this unique training course in solving the problem of people creating and maintaining their own personal brands, right? We do that by online coaching that actually has mentorship. So it's not just a bunch of series of videos, but there's actual assignments, and the assignments is what helps you to build the content and credibility online. And specifically, we're looking for people that want to advance their careers, but also advance their businesses by focusing on their personal brands first. And there's the 3 sentences, right? But that's something I'm really excited about, because we're incorporating the 3-1-3, incorporating the iceberg theory, incorporating communication, but making it into a structured sort of academic environment where people invest time and their own effort and a little bit of money. And so that's something, if people want to learn more, there's so much value in creating a personal brand. And you see me online in these publications because I've worked on my own personal brand. I've created this content, and it doesn't just happen by itself. And there's no such thing as a get rich quick. It's about putting in the time, but you have to be guided. So that's something that I'm really excited about, working with some great partners. Leonard Kim, he's an amazing author. He's an inspiring gentleman. I believe you've had him on your show as well. And so I'm just really excited about that relationship and what we're doing with Influence Tree, because it incorporates all these other elements. One of the first lessons is the 313, so it's very exciting.
Very good. My friend, it was very inspirational, and I owe you for that. So
we'll have to check back in later and see how the 313 is progressing.
Yeah, because I had more questions, like some of the other programs I wanted to hear from you, and I would like to actually send you another email and try to bring you back to the show again.
Great. Let's keep them guessing and bring back for more, right? Again, it's always nice to have a little bit of a cliffhanger because there is so much information to learn. And if anybody wants to keep track of what I'm up to or what I'm doing, Twitter is probably the best and most direct way to follow and see what's going on. And it's at Ryan Foland. Ryan is very straightforward, R-Y-A-N, and Foland, F-O-L-A-N-D. Think of it like the word Poland, but erase the little middle of the P, and it becomes an F.
Okay,
So,
we will put all that information on the website and all over the places. So I thank you, my friend.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for
keep
especially
inspiring the world. Keep solving that problem, because you know what? I want to make more money. Everybody wants to make more money. You are on to a big problem, so you keep solving it, and you're going to change the world.
Oh, we have to work together. I need your help to make me more credible. Then only I can help the world.
All right. Well, say it in shorter amount of words. Remember the iceberg theory. Don't pull people off the boat into the water. Get ready. Put your scuba gear on, and we'll go diving.
Okay. Thank you, my friend.
All right. Thank you, Shawn.
Have a nice day.
All right. You too, buddy.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
LaptopUniverse.com CEO Indu Chhabra announced the launch of BuybackQueen.com. This newly launched reverse e-commerce website buys back used old electronics, old iPhones, iPads, and all other smart devices directly from the consumers. You should not throw your old phone away because your trash may be hitting gold. Buyback Queen wants your old device and will pay top dollars for it. The process is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Fast payments, free shipping, free data wipe, risk-free transaction. Let us make the world a cleaner place and make money by selling our device on buybackqueen.com.